Hey guys, this is Kristeen and I am back again with another episode of White Coats and Stilettos. So today's video is going to be about my journey into med school. My initial life plan wasn't to be a doctor.
Initially, I wanted to get my PhD in chemistry because I was a chemistry major. In undergrad, I also did research for almost 3 years in the physical chemistry lab. And although I really enjoyed myself, I had a lot of fun doing a lot of different experiments, I realized getting my PhD might not be the track I really want to follow.
One thing I knew for sure is that I needed to do something that involved the sciences. And so a lot of the different health professions allow you to do just that, pretty much incorporate the sciences in your professional field. Although I did consider a lot of different health professional schools, I really didn't take the time out to consider medicine or med school. And the main reason why is because of the dreaded MCAT. I wasn't pre-med at the time and I had no idea the different things that you need to do in order to get into med school. However, I did hear about the MCAT, and I heard about the MCAT from every pre-med student who wanted to go into med school. And honestly, the one thing that I can say that was common amongst all of my classmates who were pre-med was that they did not want to take the MCAT and that they were so scared. And I didn't want to go through that stress. So it wasn't until about October of my junior year that I started to look into a profession as a doctor. I started doing my research, and pretty much what I kind of discovered for myself was that I started to have this admiration for doctors, because these are people who consciously make the decision to give up, let's say 7 to 12 years of their good years of life in order to learn to give better health to complete strangers, in order for these complete strangers to live out the rest of their lives in better health. And to me, that was just so noble, and I wanted to be a part of that community. I wanted to wake up to something that I can be extremely proud of. And that was the first time I've ever felt that way for any profession that I ever considered. And so that's when I knew that, okay, I need to suck it up. I need to, get over my stigma of being afraid of taking the MCAT, because this is something that I really want to do. So October is when I decided, okay, I'm gonna go to med school. Then in January, I took my MCAT. So that was about a good 3-month period of me knowing that I want to go to med school and actually taking my MCAT. Granted, the time period for an average pre-med student is about 1 year plus. And I condensed that into 3 months, thinking that, I could. And once I got my MCAT scores back, I realized that I couldn't. My MCAT score actually reflected how much time I actually put into actually learning how to take the exam. So I did the same mistake again, and I studied for 2 weeks for my next MCAT exam. I took the exam and it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible, because I spent 14 days to study for that exam. After the first 2 MCAT scores, I decided to apply. What the heck? What would be the worst that can happen? Well, the worst that happened is I applied to 17 schools and I got rejected by every single one of them. So the first application process didn't really go too well for me, because I had no real clue about what I was doing. I rushed my application, I rushed my MCAT, and it all showed on my application. And honestly, I didn't deserve to be accepted into any school. So I decided, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to take my MCAT again. I'm going to spend more time on it, which I did. And my scores came back and they were better than the first 2. But, the score still wasn't as competitive as I wanted it to be. And what I realized was that the problem wasn't that I wasn't studying long enough. I wasn't studying the right way. I didn't take the time to actually practice how to take the exam. So no matter how often I took the actual MCAT exam, it wasn't enough for me to have enough experience on how to take the exam. And so I had to resort to plan B, and plan B was to pretty much put my application on steroids. Like,
I wanted to do everything. I wanted to be in everything. So, like, I found myself in meetings with deans, tutoring their kids, found myself in different lunch and meetings with the president of our university, with board of regents, with UN ambassadors. I even had one of the regents be my mentor. I was in a lot of organizations, held a lot of leadership roles. I was in a lot of community service organizations. I did IM sports. I was doing different cultural dances and programming different events.
I was doing a lot. I had to take a year off. So in that year off, I decided to move to Kansas City, Missouri, and I took a job offer from a electronic health record company. I knew that this would be a very good job for me to have in order to also improve my resume and improve my application. Now I'm in Kansas City and I'm waiting to hear back from different schools. I was able to get 2 interviews and that was it. So even though I did a lot in order to improve my resume and my application, I still only got 2 interviews. And also, between the 2 interviews, I only got one offer, which was a waiting list offer. At this time, it's around June, and school starts around July for the school that I was waitlisted for. And so at this point, I'm thinking, you know, the chances of me actually getting into this school are very low. I was going to pretty much do my application over again, start from the beginning. And so before I decided to spend all that money, I decided to wait a day, pretty much purchase everything the next morning. So when I woke up that morning, I decided to check my email. And so what I saw in the email was a email from the Dean of Admissions of my school, and it pretty much said, "Congratulations, you have been accepted into the cohort class of 2019. And honestly, I would say on top 10 best days of my life, that by far has to be one of them. If anything, my experience taking the MCAT and applying to med school was a very, very humbling experience. And this was the first time I ever didn't get what I wanted. And so it really showed me that nothing is guaranteed at all, regardless of who you think you are. I would say that my whole medical school process, or applying to med school process, has really shaped the way that I approach med school, which was work as hard as you can early on so that you aren't as stressed later on in life. I honestly am thankful. I am very, very thankful for my experience getting into med school, because it makes me appreciate the position that I'm in right now so much more. And for anybody who feels the exact same way about medicine, about med school, or whatever it is that you really love to do, it is worth it to work hard for it.
You get exactly what you put in.
And I think this is a great time for me to segue into what the next video will be about, and which will be about organizing your life before applying to med school. What should you start thinking about doing in order to be a more competitive applicant? What are some of the things that you should start doing now? And what are certain things that you should start doing later on? So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next week. My biggest pet peeve, one of them is freaking gnats. 1 thing or 3-month thing, and you want to go to med school. What are the different things that you can do? Chill session of close friends, you know, talking and stuff and drinking wine. I love wine. I love wine. Ugh. I want to have some wine right now. The funny thing about med students is that everyone is like type A personality. I'm a type B, but undercover type A. We can all be childish together. It's great. Like, I love it.